Look at this pay-to-win mount. I am part of the problem. Dude, this was freaking hard. Reaching 1800 as an Arcane Mage. It's a pretty fun and powerful spec once you get everything right. If you want that elite set and your favorite spec is Arcane, here's how you can do it. The best hero talent for Arcane Mage is Spellslinger. As always, I will leave this build in the description down below. And you can swap Ring of Frost with Ice Nova if you need additional roots, but I would definitely recommend sticking with Ring of Frost, because you not only CC the targets way more after you polymorph them, or even if you don't poly them, that freezes a long time, like 10 seconds. And also, if you're interrupted on the Frost School, you can cast your arcane spells freely. So I'd say go with Ring. For the PvP talents, the default picks are Master Shepherd, Ring of Fire, and Chrono Shift. Master Shepherd, which makes your sheep not heal the target anymore, and it gives you movement speed and versatility, which is pretty great for an Arcane Mage. I pick Ring of Fire for additional dot and AoE damage, and also I start my rotation with this, like with Ring of Frost. If I get, interrupted, I can cast my arcane spells and then apply Ring of Fire. Or if it doesn't get kicked, well, more damage for me. And Chrono Shift. Arcane Barrage slows enemy by 50% and increases your movement speed by 25%. This is great since we're using Arcane Barrage often, and it's pretty great to apply a slow to a target, especially those melee trains. For the gear and stats, the stat priority for Arcane is Haste, Verse, Mastery, Crit. And for the minor stats, Speed, Leech, and Avoidance. This helps you decide which enchants you would apply on your gear. But yeah, we usually pick gear with Haste and Versatility. I am actually using my Frost spec gear, but the gear is pretty similar to Arcane. You will get the Conquest Equipable Trinket and the Medallion. For the rings, you're gonna have one Conquest ring with Haste Verse, and you're gonna enchant it with 315 Versatility. And for the second ring, you're gonna craft the Algari Competitor's Signet. You will apply Haste Verse on it as a missive, and also a Versatility enchant. Set items will be just the 2 set, because that's the most effective one. We do not need a 4 set, so you're gonna go for the hands and legs. For the weapons, we're gonna go with the crafted Algari Skewer and the offhand. We obviously will apply Haste Verse to those. And the rest is just Conquest gear with Haste Verse. There are a few more crafted items you could get for extra Haste Verse, for example the headgear, but that's all up to you. I could do it without the extra verse and haste. And if you want to see what a lot of people are using as gear, you can check Morlock.io. Now for additional enchants, for the weapon you're gonna have Authority of Radiant Power, which essentially hits the target for some damage and increases your primary stat. For the back we're gonna have Chant of Burrowing Rapidity, which is basically giving us more speed. Wrist is gonna be also speed, and legs would be enchanted with Sunset Spell Thread, which actually grants intellect and stamina. Oh yes, and the feet with Scout's March, more movement speed. For gems, I recommend Precog, because if someone fails to kick your spells, then you're gonna be immune to kick for a while and you can freely cast. Especially as an Arcane, this is very important, since most of your spells are Arcane, and if you get kicked, you cannot cast a lot of things, except Ice Block, Ring of Fire, Ring of Frost, very few abilities. And if you have additional gem slots, I don't, you're gonna go Versatile Emerald, which gives you more versatility. Now let's talk about the most important thing, which is rotation. Now, when the arena starts, you're gonna start with Evocation, which will give you a little bit of an extra damage right here. Intellect increased by 14%, and it gives you clear casting. So you're gonna start like this. You're gonna Arcane Surge, Touch of the Magi, you're gonna send your Arcane Missiles. I usually do Presence of Mind so I don't get interrupted. Consume my 2 stacks of Nether Precision, and then Arcane Barrage. Then again, Missiles, Blast, Blast. I got a perk of Arcane Barrage. Third Arcane Barrage, Missiles, Blast, Barrage. This is the ideal scenario. Now that's the basic rotation, but you can perfect this. So the way we can perfect it is like this. I'm gonna start with a ring. I'll maybe interrupted or not. Arcane Surge, I'm gonna blink away so I don't get interrupted. I got Touch of the Magi. Now I have 4 Arcane stack. Arcane Blast, Barrage, Missiles. We can throw an Arcane Orb in there to get the stacks. Consume the missile stacks. See? You cast 2 Arcane Blast to consume those stacks, and then you go Arcane Barrage. If you do that with the proc, you always have the Arcane Charges, which makes your Arcane Blast cast way faster. Do not ever cast Arcane Blast without charges. If you do not have enough charges, I'm gonna just consume my charges here. You're gonna throw some Arcane Orbs in there, see? Make sure you're facing the target, and then Arcane Missiles, Blast, maybe Shimmer Blast so you don't get interrupted, Barrage. You can go double Barrage if you have Arcane Orbs, because that's more instant damage, and you can just cast 2 Arcane Orbs afterwards, get those stacks, and cast Arcane Blast. And remember, use Presence of Mind for your instant casts, because it gives you 2 instant casts. And if you cast 2 Arcane Blasts, you're consuming 2 stacks of nether precisions from your arcane missiles. So basically you can do this whole rotation without even actually casting outside of Arcane Surge. So to do the rotation even better, and also kind of play defensively, we can do it like this. Alter Time, Arcane Surge with a Shimmer in there, Touch of the Magi, Presence of Mind, Missiles, Blast, Blast, Barrage. Missiles, see I ported there? Blast, maybe another Shimmer, Blast. Oh, missiles there, Barrage. Missiles, I still have the charges. Blast, Blast, Barrage. Missiles again. Look how many procs I'm getting. Blast, Blast, Barrage. That's pretty much it. And yes, every time you plan to start the full rotation, make sure you throw in an evocation before so you get some extra damage. Or, you know, use evocation when you're out of mana, which you shouldn't be if you play this rotation right. The general rule is, even outside of the burst, is that you do not blast and then missiles or something like that. This was a rookie mistake that I did as well. So yeah, always make sure your arcane charges are up and running. Make sure you have more than 2 at least. Like, do not cast Arcane Blast outside of that, because look how slow it is. You can be kicked all the time in this. You know, use a Ring of Fire off cooldown as well. I hope you get the idea. If not, you can ask more in the comments. Arcane as Frost is also a little bit reactive. It's not just one specific rotation that you do all over and over again. For defensives, unfortunately on the Arcane, we do not have a double ice block like we have on the Frost spec, or some fast HP recovery like we have on Fire. But we still have enough defensives if we get the basic mage principles right. We have our Mass Barrier that basically gives us the Prismatic Barrier, which grinds and absorb. We also have magic damage taken reduced, so that's why I generally do not go with the Arcane Warding, because it's enough from the shield. We have our actual Prismatic Barrier that we can reapply every time we're in danger, and it has 16 seconds cooldown, which is pretty great. You have Mirror Image that reduces your damage taken by 20%. Obviously Alter Time, you know, I showed you that I'm starting my rotation with it. I just put it somewhere. I don't know, Shimmer somewhere, just damage my target, then I alter back. Hopefully I have more HP, and I just change my position as well. Maybe the warrior charges me, then I Shimmer again. If he charges me again, then I use Displacement and just go back to the position. But yeah, Alter Time can be dispelled, but use it anyway at as much HP as you can. Like, your health should be pretty high when you use it, so you don't do the mistake of using Alter at low HP. You block, your Cryo Freeze heals you, but then your Alter triggers so you have low HP. I still do this mistake pretty often. So yeah, we obviously have our Ice Block, which grants us complete immunity, but I would hold on to this for as long as I could, because once this is over, then we're gonna be focused hard, and there's not much we can do other than Alter and Roots and RCCs. We also have Shadow Melt for those situations where we want to absorb like a Chaos Bolt, or just, you know, become untargetable for a little while. And we also have, like on any spec, the Greater Invis defense. I'm not using in Shuffle the invisibility for the actual invisibility effect. I use it for the damage reduction, which for 2 seconds I have damage reduced by 60%, which is pretty huge. When someone bursts me down, I usually do that. You also become untargetable for a short while, so they lose their focus. And you also have the damage reduced, so it's a win-win. But, for example, in 2s, I use the Greater Invis if I play with a rogue, because I need that stealth advantage. But you do not really need that in Shuffle. So I would say use it defensively. But hold on to your block. Trust your healer. And yeah, our greatest defense and offense is our CCs. So whenever you want to CC a target, you go Dragon's Breath, then you cast Polymorph. Obviously I can because it's a target dummy here. And after you do the Polymorph, you can also put your Ring of Frost margin like this, if that's the Polymorph target, so you can freeze them for at least 6 seconds, you know, because they're also polyed. If that gets kicked, then start hitting with your arcane spells. And if it does get kicked, don't despair. Just do your rotation as usual, and whenever there's an opportunity for a ring cast, just cast it. For example, afterwards you may be kicked on your arcane spells. Then sure, cast Ring of Frost to CC the target. That's the trick to play with the mage, you know, when you get kicked. I get kicked on Frost, I try to cast an arcane spell. I get kicked on an arcane spell, I try to cast a fire spell. So on and so forth. If you get kicked on all, leave the arena. No, I'm joking, don't do that. Just, you know, go again. You also have your Frost Nova that you will use very often because you want to root targets, especially those sneaky melees. And also as a defense in a way, you could steal bops, absorbs and everything, because you have your spell steal, which is pretty great. Another trick with the CCs would be, if I want to kill a target and the healer is, you know, doing its thing, killing the hell out of him, when I could poly the healer first, like DB, poly, try to ring, maybe the ring gets kicked, no matter. I start bursting the target, you know, so I just go on Arcane Surge, you know, the usual rotation. Then I try to poly the healer again, continue my rotation, poly poly the healer again, and so on and so forth as the DR allows it. So you get max 3 polys, so you can poly, attack the target, poly the healer, attack the target, poly the healer. On the first poly, you can Ring of Frost as well, if it doesn't get kicked. If it does get kicked, you can try to apply Ring of Frost on one of the following polys. And of course, we should mention shifting power. You should always use this so you can reduce the cooldown of your spells. Look at my Arcane Surge just coming available again, you know? I'm already putting my evocation here because I have clear casting and I have some additional damage. Alright, so I hope this guide was helpful. I hope it was comprehensive. Arcane isn't that hard to play, but it's hard to master, because you have to play the basic mage principles, right? You have to root right, CC right, blink right, alter time right, you know, blast wave right. By the way, with blast wave, you can knock your enemies away, but you can also interrupt them. One good interrupt from blast wave can turn the game around. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you think I should have added something more, mention it in the comments. If you enjoyed this guide and it was helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more caster guides to get your 1800 set, because the season might be over in a few weeks. I will see you guys next time. Peace. Ruffix takes the battle.